this is a little bit of what makes me crazy in the industry. Just raise your prices, just raise your prices. Well, yeah, you can raise them a little bit and you can get away with it, right? But when you're talking about really ultra high end clients, it isn't just a matter of raising your prices. Everything has to up level. Your brand has to up level. Your message has to up level. Your market has to up level. Your language, I already said that. Your message, even your sales process.
Yeah, your message and your language are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Your language has to change. You have to start being able to talk about ROI. You have to start talking about KPIs and P&L and all of business measurements.
Yes.
That come into play.
Because you're not talking to amateurs anymore.
Exactly.
Yes. So when you're going after really high-end clients, you have to understand the language that they speak. And so the thing that most people don't realize is that all of these things have to change and have to up level if you're going to get paid premium fees.
Hi, I'm Erin Marcus, former corporate executive turned entrepreneur and founder and CEO of Conquer Your Business. Welcome to the Ready Yet podcast. We're excited to bring you more than 100 episodes of interviews and insights designed to help entrepreneurs get the financial and emotional freedom they need in order to build a business and a life they're proud of.
Welcome to this episode of the Ready Yet podcast, where today I have Ann Carden here with me. And I'm excited about this conversation because we do similar enough things. And I'm always looking to give people another perspective on the topic, right? Because there's going to be some themes, but there's going to be some differences. And that's where the secret sauce is, and it's all the differences. But before we get into what you do and how you got there, why don't you give everybody a little more official introduction to you?
Thank you, Erin. It's such a pleasure to be here with you. I'm super excited. Yay. So I basically work with business, B2B coaches, consultants, professional entrepreneurs who are really looking to scale their business. So they're around that 6-figure range and they are looking to go to 7 figures, maybe even beyond, depending on what they want to do with their business. But I help them do it in a little bit different way. So I help them build a really high-end business, and where they're getting very ultra high ticket clients. I say ultra high ticket because for most people, high ticket's like $2,000 or $5,000. Right. No, we're talking about, $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 plus clients. So
I love it because, when I teach people, how do you make money? There's really only 3 ways to make money. There's only 3 ways to make money, right? You could sell more volume, you could charge more money, or you can add a service.
That's right.
And you can pick. And one of the things that I love about what you do, at least it's been my experience, is it's a much less uncomplicated. I'm going to make an assumption. You can tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Simple.
It's a much less complicated business model and a bigger, maybe I didn't say that enough times, mindset situation.
Yeah, yes and no. It's really interesting you say that. We can dive into that if you want to.
I would love to because it's one of the things, like, I have people in my world and, I need to lower my prices. Nah, odds are you don't. But you can truly have $1 million business with 10 clients.
That's right. Or 20 clients if you're charging $50,000. Yes.
You just have to be able to ask somebody to pay you $50,000.
Yes.
$100,000.
Yeah. And there is more that goes into it than this. And so this is a little bit of what makes me crazy in the industry. Just raise your prices, just raise your prices. Well, yeah, you can raise them a little bit and you can get away with it. Right. But when you're talking about really ultra high end clients, it isn't just a matter of raising your prices. Everything has to up level. Your brand has to up level. Your message has to up level. Your market has to up level. Your language, I already said that. Your message, your sales process.
Yeah, your message and your language are two different things, because I can tell you, because I've worked with people who come out of like teaching or corporate, and now they're going to have their own business. And I've worked with businesses with teams, and I come out of C-suite and corporate. Your language has to change. You have to
Yes.
start being able to talk about ROI. You have to start talking about KPIs and P&L and all of
Absolutely.
business measurements
Yes.
that come into play.
Because you're not talking to amateurs anymore.
Exactly.
Yes. So when you're going after really high-end clients, you have to understand the language that they speak. And so the thing that most people don't realize is that all of these things have to change and have to up level if you're going to get paid premium fees. And the other thing is your offers, what you're actually selling, has to be sold in a certain way. And you have to be able to articulate that value in such a way that it's a no-brainer for people to invest those high dollars. And most people don't really understand the true value that they can bring to the market. They don't understand how to price by impact and by value. And so that's where the big shift comes in. But I want to talk about mindset for a minute, because one of the things that I have found is that the biggest mindset is for people to even think there's the opportunity to do this. Like when we're reaching out to people to see if they're interested, maybe coming to a workshop or something, we get a lot of no's. And I think the no's come from, oh, I don't really think that's me. I don't really think I can do that. But I want to tell you, I've taken a mindset coach making $1,700 for a client, and she's been able to get $50,000 clients.
Well, so one of the things that you're saying, if I'm hearing you right, and I really like this, is it's not just your mindset. You also have to be talking to the people who believe that it's possible for them.
Yes, that's right. That is exactly right. So it isn't just, I always say I'm looking for the people that are looking for me.
Yes.
So if someone sees something on social media or hears me on a podcast or whatever, and they go, Ann, I would love to get $50,000 clients. Can I do that? Those are my people, right? Because then it truly is a matter of how you put the pieces together and how you package. Now, that being said, I just want to say, you have to be good at what you do.
Right. Let's just default at that. You can't do this and suck at what you do.
Yes.
And I have seen, unfortunately, since I know you focus in the coaching and consulting area, I have seen coaches and consultants, and I won't even say the consultants, but people who identify themselves as coaches, take programs, develop skills, and learn how to sell from the stage, but never learn how to scale their delivery.
That's true. That's very true. Yes.
Where there's no bang for your buck. And so all of their yeses end up becoming no's as they slowly lose the people because they can't deliver.
Right. And I actually kind of want to flip that as well, because I have actually made this mistake in my business a very long time ago, where I knew where I wanted people to go, but then they weren't ready. And so the runway was so long for them. Right. Yes. And so some of these things you just have to figure out by just getting into this industry and working with people and
figuring out where do you play best. Like, yes,
that's right. That's right.
Where's your happy place? I spoke to someone earlier today who we talked about her niche in outdoor businesses, but industry companies that serve outdoors in a variety of ways. But I also think in this case, I know coaches who are fantastic at getting people launched. And then there's coaches that hate that part and are great. You and I. And
that would be me.
That would be you. Yes. And are great at getting people scaled.
Yes.
And I think the more you can figure out where's your happy place in the process, in the cycle, and where is your knowledge best served? Because I would imagine you probably aren't happy with someone just launching who isn't ready to utilize the strategies that they're just not there yet.
It's frustrating. I will say, and again, I've made those mistakes, and I do work with experts that are maybe coming from corporate, or they have a lot of expertise,
but they have business acumen.
Yes, they have. Yes. but sometimes they can still be tricky to work with because they have an employee mindset a lot of times. And so there are still some issues there, but if I am going to work with a startup, that's where.
And that's
I
one of
work
my
with them.
favorite, because I love dismantling corporate mindset. Because that was
Well,
me,
I
right?
know,
That
and you
was
were,
mine,
you and I
right?
were both in that world,
Right.
right?
So I love the aha moments of, wait, it doesn't have to be like that. Wait, what?
Right.
Do this a different
Right.
way.
Yeah. So it's just it's a lot of things, but you're absolutely right. It is about finding your sweet spot. And when I first started in the coaching and consulting industry, and I bought into programs and worked with an organization and coaches, and everything that they were teaching was bringing me really low value clients. And my biggest frustration with those clients, number one, they were all in startup mode, which I built I think, I built 5 other businesses and sold them. I do not love startup. I don't love that. No,
That's not the fun part.
And, yes. And so I know that about myself. And so I would bring these clients in. It was like, I wanted their success more than they did.
Yeah.
I'm consistently having hard conversations, to do the work and all of that. But at the end of the day, it's like, why do I couldn't even use the strategies and the things that I knew. And I felt really unfulfilled as a coach. It's like, I can't even scratch the surface here of what I can help them do. And so I was very unfulfilled as a coach. And that's when I actually made the shift in my business and created my Expert in You method, where it's go really, really high and go after those clients and then, help them scale.
One of the things that I love about what you just said is what you did, God help us to use this word anymore. You pivoted, you didn't give up.
I almost gave up.
But you know what, like, you were unfulfilled, you were unhappy. Most people would feel like, enough of this.
Well, it wasn't my first rodeo, Erin. So, as much as I wanted to throw in the towel, and part of my frustration, here's another piece of it. Everything I was being taught was like, sell them a 90-day program, sell them, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Building a business takes longer than 90 days. I'm sorry. And I even worked with a coach that said, you'll never get anyone that's going to pay you for more than 90 days. That's what she told me. And I was paying her good money. And so that was a lot of the mindset and stuff that was out there. So it was all of it. It wasn't just the clients, but it was all of it in the industry. And so that's when I said, okay, like I have in all my other businesses, I'm either going to figure this out or I'm going to get out because I'm not loving this. And if I don't love something, I work with it until I do love it. That's sort of my secret sauce, sort of my trick.
My whole thing, I have 2 versions of that. One, I did not quit a high-paying, wonderful job to be miserable.
Yes.
So I won't keep doing things that make me miserable. And what people don't understand is most of what I do is to entertain myself. So right? You're welcome to come with, but I'm not going to do. And I think that's where we're similar. I'm not going to bang my head against the wall for very long. I'm not just going to hit the nail harder. I'm going to start to analyze it. And maybe the nail isn't even there anymore.
Yeah.
Right. That's something I'm seeing happen right now, where the market has shifted so much. I'm curious to see if you see this. The market has shifted so much and basically across the board, not even in a specific industry, that hitting the nail harder isn't a thing, because the nails aren't. It's like, you and I are of a certain age. Someone moved our cheese.
Yes.
Right. We know someone moved the cheese. So hitting the nail harder doesn't work.
Right.
That's right. Data-driven decisions, analyze what's going on. And that again is a higher level strategy.
Yes. And here's another thing too, when we're talking about this, I am consistently reanalyzing where I am in my business, the clients that I'm working with, the clients that I did work with, the clients that I love and want to work with. And I'm consistently, I would say I'm consistently growing. I'm consistently looking for new ways to level up myself. And when you work with clients that stretch you, that is where you will get the most growth. And so we don't have to have every single thing figured out, right? People think that, but that isn't realistic. We learn from our clients. I'll give you a good example. I have a mastermind program, and some of the clients that I brought in were working in or starting up in the professional space, and they were coming from corporate, and they were both, some brilliant people. But I quickly realized that, okay, I don't really have the corporate marketing stuff that they need. And so I knew marketing things that they would need, but I actually took it a step further, and I invested in some coaches who were brilliant in that area and had some systems and things like that I knew I could bolt on to what I was doing. So it complemented my services. So I'm always looking for, how can I grow and how can I offer what they need?
And I just did the same thing. I love that you bring this up. And the way that I have been describing this is, you have to work at the intersection where what is the problem you solve and what is your client's biggest problem.
Yes.
And you saw a gap.
Yes.
And so you did something about it. I just did the same thing, because the gap that my clients were experiencing was on implementing. Because we would have all these wonderful strategy sessions, but they were already hours in the day and days in the week. They didn't have the talent that I have at my fingertips because of who I know.
Right.
And so we did the same thing, where I invested in new offers, new ways to help people that were tacked on and adjacent. And I think it's a great message for whoever is listening. It's not just only stop trying to hit the nail harder, see if it's moved, that analyzing, like, what do they need that you can solve? Yeah.
And I want to hit on this too, because here's something. This is the true mark of someone who knows what they're doing. They can see this, they can identify it, and they can make their program better. What I see is so many people trying to repeat what their coach did, or trying to repeat something they learned. And there's no depth to
you're just a copy.
Yes, there's no depth to their experience, to their knowledge. If I learn something from a coach, which we all learn from each other, there's nothing new under the sun, right? But I'm going to put my own spin on it. It's going to become a piece of what I do. It's not going to become the thing. And that's the thing that drives me crazy. Most people are building a business around the thing that they learned from their coach. Right. That's not the way to build a business.
And it's not in here. And I have all the empathy in the world, because I don't think anybody does it maliciously. I think
I don't think so either. I totally agree.
They have these great experiences.
Well, they're taught that.
Right. Well, they have these great experiences that create an emotion in them that they want to then go recreate for other people.
Correct.
Who can find fault in that? However, the problem is
there's no depth.
It's hard to build, like you're discussing, a high ticket, high profile business.
Yes.
With that approach.
Because one of the things I help people do, and let's say it's just a social media marketer. Okay. One of the things or a course creator, they've created multiple courses. That's another one. One of the things that I help them do is, how can we pull all of that expertise together so that now you're creating something bigger and more valuable that people would truly want to invest in. And so if they only have that one thing, I have nothing to work with. I mean, there's just nothing to work with. Yes, we can go after a higher market, but you're still going to have such a cap on that pricing, because you don't know much else. You don't know how to do much else.
And I also think there's scarcity around, well, if I don't have quantity, I don't have volume of income.
Well, that I just completely debunk that, because my whole business model is not built around volume at all. And that's the thing that I love about the model. It actually does require less. It's a simple model,
which is so hard to, things get complicated. If you don't watch it, things don't get simple by accident. They get complicated by accident.
Yes.
That was their thing, right?
Yes.
It's easier by accident.
Yes, 100%.
I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Ready Yet podcast, brought to you by Conquer Your Business. With decades of experience, Conquer Your Business creates business and branding strategies that build multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses. And we don't just show you what to do. We have an entire team of people available to help you do it, strategy and implementation. You can learn more and reach out to us by visiting conqueryourbusiness.com.
So I think, when you look at all these things, I work with people who really are exceptional at what they do, and they have a lot to offer the market. They just don't know how to put the pieces together. They don't know how to scale that. They're playing, they're really playing too small. They're undervaluing themselves. And so it's all of those things, but I love to be an A to Z. You talked earlier about people piecemealing, and I don't remember if that was in the podcast or if that was on a conversation. But that is a big problem in this industry. People piecemealing their business together, looking for the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And here's the problem with that approach is they're looking for the next thing. And then that coach or that consultant undoes everything the person before them did. So they're consistently back in startup mode. They're never getting traction.
And not even on purpose.
No, they don't even realize it's happening that way. And I will tell you, Erin, I've even seen people, this actually just recently happened. I had a client that she made a lot of money working with me for a year. And then she said, I just need to keep going. I need to keep doing this. And now she's completely changed her business model. She's in a completely different market. She's actually back in a market that she was in that didn't serve her before, why she came to me. And so I look at that and I'm like, it's crazy to me.
That. I am terrified I'm going to do that because I think that also happens not on purpose. And I try to be very cognizant of not doing that, because one of the things a coach said this to me along the way, and she was absolutely right. She watches people over and over and over again, realize something's working and immediately stop doing it.
That happens.
And it's something about, well, obviously it has to be new to work, or it has to be new and different to be. And I think there's something in our brain patterns that tell us that. And just like you said, people will walk away from something that's working and find themselves back at square one.
Well, I know what happened with this particular client. And she was, at the end of her program with me, but I know what happened. She was in scale mode and it was tough. I mean, because scaling is hard, right? And so now she's using new strategies. She's doing brand new things. And sometimes, and this is just something for people to know, sometimes when you're scaling, you might even see a bit of a backslide.
Absolutely.
For a short time.
I think that is, because
you're leveling up and
you're leveling up and it's not a straight line.
No, it is not. And so I think that, her comment, I felt like I'm pushing a boulder up a hill. Well, you are, because you're stretching, you're growing, this is part of the scale process. It's part of it. And if you don't get that, if you think it's going to be easy just because you figured it out and you've gone out and made a lot of money and you've got a lot of clients, but now, okay, how can I take this thing to another level? That's where people get really confused. They think that should be easy. It's not. No, you're using completely different strategies. What you did to get you where you are, as hard as that was, it's not going to be the same thing to take you to that next level. And I think people are so confused by that and shocked by that.
Absolutely, because I think we want there to be an end to the pain, right? We want there, as I said, that
there never really is.
And we're not in the right business, because what I've had to learn is my calendar isn't broken, my mindset isn't broken, my business isn't broken. It's all a process.
That's right.
I will never get to the point where I fixed the calendar, cured my mindset, and solved my business challenge, because none of those things ever reach a finite situation.
That's right. It's always, you're always in growth. I've been doing this 32 years. I've never been able just to rest on my laurels, as nice as that would be.
And
it was only when I think
Instagram, right? You got out right. I think Instagram has people thinking otherwise.
Yes. I mean, I will say, here's the thing. I have coached with some of the top people in the world that are, and I'm still coaching with some of the top people in the world that are doing, oh my gosh, way, way, way more than I am. We're talking 50 million, $100 million a year, right? And I still hear them say the same things, the very same thing. If they don't stay on it, if they don't stay on their game, if they don't stay in the game, it doesn't matter how many ads you run. It doesn't matter how much money you throw at your business. You will hear them say, even at $100 million, you can still be cash poor. Even at $100 million, you can still have profitability problems. Even at $100 million, you've got this whole new big set of problems. And that's just a fact. And so if people don't get that, yeah.
CEO, job as a CEO is to solve problems. I was taught this like I call it a kid now because we're older. When I got my first management role at like 25 years old, and I don't know why someone ever put me in charge of their multi-million-dollar asset when I was 25 years old, but there I was. And you get paid in accordance to the problems that you solve. You get paid at the level of the stress you can handle, right? That's part of being the CEO is you handle the bigger problems.
Yes.
That doesn't change. That's what you're getting paid to do.
No, it will not change unless you hire a CEO at some point in your business.
No.
It will not change. And the problems just get bigger. So if you think your problems are big now,
don't they?
They get bigger. And here's the other thing. Things get riskier. Some of the biggest decisions I have ever made in my businesses were the scariest things I had ever done, that literally we could have lost everything, our home, I could tell you story after story, but they were the right things to do to grow. And if you're not ready for that, you're not ready for growth. And they were scary, but this is where you have to bet on you. And you have to say, look, everything is out there for me to have access to. I might have to invest in a coach or a mentor to help me get that access, but everything is out there. Someone knows it. What's the book? Not How, Who, I think is the name of it.
Absolutely.
I haven't read it yet, but
it's good. I mean, it's good.
Yes. And that's really the truth. It's the truth. Yes.
It's the truth about everything in your life. And I'm so glad to hear you say this, because I know this consciously and I tell people this, but we're in the middle of this. We're coming out of a rebrand and an expansion and all of the things. And it's always good reminders that, this is, and it's absolutely scarier than when I quit my job, because I was still close to corporate. I could have had a job in an hour if I wanted to. And it's scarier and it's bigger and there's more people contingent on whether or not it works, and 100%.
Yes.
So what are you seeing right now? I'm curious, that's working. What's working for people as they're trying to grow their businesses and they're trying to move into these new things? What do you see that's working?
I think we are seeing a shift in the industry that even the big gurus are realizing that they have to help people. The courses, the, do it yourself things, that we know the percentage of success for those things.
It's got to be negative. Can you have a negative?
It has to be negative.
Success?
Yeah. I mean, maybe if you're teaching, like I teach people how to market on LinkedIn, right? As part of
specific. That's
part of my. Yes. So if I'm teaching them, I could do in a course how to set up your profile in the right way, right?
Totally.
That's different. But when you're talking about helping someone build a business or do something that is significant, that it can be sustainable, they're realizing that they have to do higher touch. And I realized this, years ago. I said, I don't love the cookie cutter model with loads of people. I have bought into programs like that only because I wanted to learn one thing from the coach.
Yes, I have bought,
but I'm never engaged.
And you want to laugh because you probably have done this too. I've also bought into those programs to listen to hear what other people were asking.
Of course, it's part
so
of
that
our
I
growth.
knew, okay, this is what's this is how people are thinking right now.
Yes. No, that's right. But to me, that's just part of our research. One of the things that I love about being a business coach, I know that you can relate to this, is when we invest in ourselves, we also get to then use those things with our clients, right?
Oh,
So we're
absolutely.
it's nice
Double dipping.
because yes, because it is double dipping, because we get to do it for ourselves and then we also get to do it for our clients. But absolutely, I mean, a big portion of my income and my revenue goes back into my growth. I don't want to become irrelevant in this market. And so I think when you're talking about shifts, everybody's talking about AI disruption and all that. I think the big disruptor, and this is just my opinion, I think the big disruptor is going to be that the market has become so saturated in coaching and consulting and not that there's not business to go around. It's still a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? But it will weed out the people who are serious and the people who are playing. And I think that always when you have a market correction, that's actually a really good thing. So people can say it's the economy or whatever they want. Personally, I think it's a market correction. It happens in real estate. It happens in business. It happens in coaching and consulting.
Well, and I think, not to divulge any secrets, but you and I are older. And so we did
not me,
but we did business before the internet.
Yes, ma'am.
I did marketing and sales pre-internet, and not that the internet is a bad thing, because I will tell you, because of the way the world works now, I have an international team, an international business, and I've met the most amazing people. So I love it. I have zero hesitations, but the downside is the golden age of the internet, build it and they will come, created a false sense of what's possible.
Yes.
They didn't have to what do they do on TikTok? Here, take my money.
Right.
That's not actually a thing. Like, here, take my money is not actually a thing.
Right.
So there's a lot of people who got out of college and had some jobs, and then they decided to become an entrepreneur. So they're probably in their 30s, maybe, and into their 40s, that never had to do business when business was hard.
Right. That's right.
So it's not their fault. They've just never done it this way.
Right.
But
they also are missing out too. I mean, what some of the strategies, of course, I teach people how to do virtual speaking strategies and, everything like live streams and, virtual events and all those things. But sometimes with some of my clients, they need to get out from behind their computer and they need to go out and actually engage with people and meet people and start working a different system. And I always say that, and I know for you, this is true, that's always one of the things that's really kind of set me apart too, is that I actually do help people build their business offline and online and merge those two worlds.
Completely. I had a client who was told by somebody, you need to be on Instagram. And she had such a niche business that I absolutely guarantee there was no one on Instagram looking for what she did. It was a very interesting, amazing business model. I'm like, look, there are 2 conferences a year for the people you need to meet. Go there, make friends, right? 20, 30 people in your entire universe. And that's it.
That's right.
Because of her business niche and model. And so going back to what we see that hasn't worked in the business and what's correcting now, starting with tactic instead of strategy is what doesn't work.
That's the piecemealing part, right? That is the piecemealing part. I think for a lot of people, they don't have a vision and they're not consistently leveling up their vision. Like I've had people come to me, coaches, and say, their goal is $100,000. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, okay. Do you love a $35,000 income?
Right.
Because
what is it? What is it? A
right?
6-figure business is an entry level take home income.
And actually part of that really frustrates me with the industry because they really glamorize 6 figures. Like it's just some big amazing amount of money to make. Only I don't know six-figure
think
coaches
it's-
that have any money. I don't know
and
any
I
of
think
them.
it's easy as I laugh because I've done it before at different levels of my business. It's easy to market around the number six figures because it's such a catchy term. Right?
Yeah. Well, I think where people think, okay, so this is maybe the difference. If you're in, say, corporate and you're in a job and you're making over six figures
That's
a year,
fantastic.
you're considered a good earner, right? But for a business owner, that's broke. That's broke.
Because of the numbers don't line up. You don't
have to
make
put
money
back
40
into your
hours a week.
business, and you've got business taxes and you've got things coming out of that. In corporate, again, you've got a lot of benefits and things like that. You don't have all that as a business owner. So if you're trying to do everything from six figures, you'll have no 401k, you'll have no investing, you'll have you probably will barely have a VA that works for you, right? At $4 an hour. I mean,
Right.
it's not, people don't get it. And so then they wonder why they don't have money. But I just want to speak to that for a minute, because here's what I tell people. Part of the reason why that happens, part of it is the exposure that they see everywhere, six figures, right? But the other piece of that is, I don't believe a lot of people are being truthful, because that's all they know how to get that coach or that consultant to, or that entrepreneur. They only know how to get them to six figures. It doesn't take a brain surgeon to be able to do that, right? But I think part of the problem with this whole thing too is not only do they not have the exposure, but it's almost like they're just sold this bill of goods. And it's just really frustrating to see the market put that out there. And I even invested in a coaching organization when I first started. That was their whole model. Well, that was how I brought in the low end clients, and my income just kept hitting that mark. I couldn't get beyond it. And so it took a little bit of understanding of the industry to go, okay, yeah, this just isn't going to work. It's
And one of the things my team, he used to be a client, and now Alex works on the team, that he laughs that he used to think I was crazy for saying this, and now he gets it. It's easier to make more money than less money.
Oh,
And
100%.
right. And
well, money multiplies. Money loves speed, right?
right. Oh, right. Success. That's one of my things. Success is directly tied to your speed of action.
It is.
Success,
It is.
life will respond at your speed of action, right?
And if you don't make decisions based on this is actually where I started to go with that whole thing that I just talked about. If you don't make decisions, lost my train of thought there, based on where you want to go, and you're only investing with what you're making right now, good luck. You're going to be sitting there for a long darn time.
It's so frustrating, right? It's so frustrating to see people who have a lot to offer who don't know how to do this part. I mean, and I think one of the things that I love about what I do and what you do is doing what most people do for a living and growing a business are two different things. And there's some people who are absolutely fantastic at what they do. And if they would just take a little bit of that time, money, energy, effort that they've put into getting good at what they do, and put it into learning how to grow a business.
Well, you know what I call six figures? I call it the six-figure trap.
Right.
It is a trap. It is a hamster wheel. It is a hustle and grind.
It's exhausting.
Yes, it is. It is 100%.
So if people want to continue this conversation with you, because I mean, seriously, like, just do this, right? Make your life easier. That's one of the things that you and I both talk about. My goal is to make your life easier.
Yes.
Right? Not harder.
100%.
Easier. How do they reach you? What's the best way to get in contact with you?
Yes, you can book a call with me at acarden.com, or you can find me on social media. I also do have a workshop coming up at expertinuworkshop.com. So I almost always have some kind of an upcoming workshop, and the topic changes, but it's still for coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs. So you can go check that out and see if that looks, and we're talking about making 50K consistent months, not 50K a year. So
love it. Awesome. And we'll make sure that all of those links are in the show notes.
Thank you.
Excuse me, for the people who are listening, it's expertinuworkshop.com.
Workshop.com. Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your expertise, your story, your experience, your honesty. I'm the same way. It does you no good for me to blow smoke up your skirt.
That's why we clicked, Erin.
That's right.
Why we clicked.
And the other thing is, it's not doom and gloom. It's not doom and gloom. It's honesty and opportunity.
That's right.
So
that's exactly right. And everyone can raise their own bar. Everyone can rise above. It doesn't matter what other people are out there doing. What matters is what you're doing.
Totally.
And how you're rising. So thank you. Thanks for having me
so much.